With Tesla and Intel crashing, with the Chinese trying to stimulate, with Boeing having all their problems, and with all the earnings that came out this week, weekly summary, a special review on everything that's happened with a focus on earnings. And of course, I'll get you all prepared for the week ahead, which is even more crazier than the current week. Are you ready for it? Let's go. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Of course, if you're a new subscriber, thank you very much for spending the time with me. And if you're a repeating viewer, thank you very much for your loyalty. I'm Micha Stocks and our channel is called Stock Talk with Micha Stocks, where we cover every week the main highlights that happened in the stock market. If you're new, again, you can subscribe to the channel. That would be amazing. And if you'll turn notifications on, you'll get an update every time I publish a new video. Let's dive into the markets. Russell, the IWM, outperformed all the other major averages, up another 1.8%. S&P up 1%. Dow up 0.6%. And NASDAQ the same. When we look at the different indices, you can see that the energy outperformed all the rest, and communication, financial started to perform. And on the flip side, you see the consumer discretionary, the XLY, down 1.8%, and the real estate down 0.5%. If we look at the crypto market, after GBTC started to sell less Bitcoins, we started seeing Bitcoin going up and ended at least the current 5 days by another 5% gain, and Ethereum down 2.4%. This brings Bitcoin back to 42,000. Which is still down from 49,000. Oil and natural gas, oil up 6.2% this week, natural gas up 9.4%. Heat map in front of you, you can see most of the market was green, hence the outperform this week, but some companies did not survive their earnings. Tesla down 12%, Intel down, Texas Instrument down, Lockheed Martin and Boeing, which didn't report, is going to report, but they have all their problems. Gilead also down 7.9%. We'll talk about Gilead in a second. And Magnificent Seven, now a debatable 7. Are they going to stay Magnificent 7, or are they going to change to the wonderful 6? The reason for that is pretty easy. And this is the reason. Top 10 companies by market cap. 9 out of the 10 publicly traded companies. Microsoft, Apple, Google, Amazon, Nvidia, Meta, Berkshire, Taiwan Semi, and Eli Lilly, and Saudi Aramco in the middle. Who's missing? You're right, Tesla. Now the question is, should they stay in the Magnificent Seven, or should they be kicked out? And that was the main discussion, of course, after a very, very, very bad earnings call with Elon and his team. We might talk about it once we talk about Tesla. What else did we have this week? We had earnings. As you can see, we heard, and I'm not going to go company by company, let's talk by groups. We had several airlines complaining about the safety, complaining about Boeing, and complaining about the fact that now they need to ground several planes, and this will, of course, hurt their top and bottom line. We heard semis. We heard from Intel. We heard from KLAC. We heard from Texas Instrument. All took down their estimates for at least the first 2 quarters, which automatically dragged their stocks down. On the flip side, we heard from ASML, which is producing the machines that are producing the chips. They're not seeing demand going down. They're actually seeing demand going up. We heard from Netflix that presented a very big increase, a surprisingly increase in subscribers. They performed very, very well this quarter. We also heard from IBM, again, hit the ball out of the park. Very good reporting. We heard from Tesla, very disappointing earnings, missing almost on all parameters, and a very, very bad earnings call. We also heard from Visa and American Express that still say that the consumer is strong. We heard from Humana and others. Not something notable that we can mention. So let's start diving into the news. U.S. economy grew in Q4 3.3 rather than better than 2.5. That was estimated this up until this point, and this is Q4. It's not the Q that we're in, and you can see that the U.S. economy is growing, and maybe eventually someone would say that the U.S. market, after two negative prints at 2022, was actually in recession, and the awakening that keeps happening for recession will never happen because it already happened. Maybe that might happen in the future. We got the PC on Friday. PC is the preferred inflation measurement by the Fed, and it came out as planned, 0.2 increase, 2.6 on the year over year, which means that we're under 3% inflation. We have a two handle on it, exactly what the Fed wanted. We did see income raising by 0.3, which is lower than expectations, but spending growing more than expectations, meaning when your salary isn't going up in the pace that your spending is going up, you're basically getting into debt and credit. And the Houthis, the Suez Canal, now the Panama Canal, now the Chinese are pissed at them, and they talked to Iranian counterparts and said, "Stop the Houthis because we don't want to keep having these problems." We'll see in the next week or two. Probably we'll see the change in course by the Houthis. And Apple is surprised in the numbers of units that they sold on the Vision Pro. 80,000 was the plan. Estimates are around 160 to 180,000 units. We'll see how many units and what the reviews would be. Friday, this coming Friday, it will be released. I will have one, and maybe our next weekly, I'll show you the new Vision Pro. ADM, not AMD, ADM. On Monday, halted the trading, put their CFO on leave, and went into the numbers again because they have seen something very strange in the numbers. The stock, of course, got hammered by that. Gilead falls after they disappointed in their lung cancer study. China trying to somehow get back their business cycle and get the stocks back up, trying to infuse $278 billion to companies. They're also asking hedge funds, Chinese hedge fund, not to short Chinese companies. And also they reduced the amount of money security needed by the Chinese banks. They're trying whatever they can. Just do what's needed and not whatever you can, meaning stop going against the world. That's my take on it. Netflix reported this week, very good subscribers, gain in subscribers, signed a contract for live streaming with the WWE. But the story behind WWE is even more fascinating. WWE, Raw, you know what it is, entertainment, wrestling, all that. But behind that, there's TKO Group Holdings. TKO Group Holdings mentioned Dwayne The Rock as a new director in their board, which is fine. But Friday afternoon fired, or actually put in leave, I think, or something like that, one of their founders and one of their owners, Vince McMahon. The reason? Allegations of sexual harassments. Allegedly. I need to say allegedly because I don't know if it's true or not, but that's why he's right now out of the company. Bitcoin ETFs. As you can see here, there's the list of the Bitcoin ETFs. Most of them got inflows except GBTC. A lot of coins came out of GBTC and probably spread into these. Net, we gained the number of coins, meaning more and more people are piling into buying into the ETFs, which is reducing the amount of Bitcoins that are free in circulation, meaning that if you won't catch your Bitcoin, you might not have one in the future. GBTC's flow is starting to come down a bit. And the reason why the flow is coming down, or the reason why people are taking money out of GBTC, is just because the cost of keeping the coins in GBTC just doesn't make sense. Apple celebrating 40 years to the Mac. For the 40 years, I took my first MacBook out. Apparently, it's 16 years old and it's still working. Slow, but working. From that point on, I never went back to PC. I only stayed with Apple products. So I don't have the legacy of 40 years. I do have the legacy of 16 years. Crazy. And layoffs is becoming a bigger problem than up until now. Here's a short list of companies. To this list, we actually on Friday heard from more companies like CRM and others, which are also reducing their headcount. There might be a problem in the horizon, which we don't know about, or they're just preparing or overhired. Who knows? And this is PayPal's new CEO, came out this week with the 6 new initiatives that PayPal is trying to wow the market or shock the market. The market wasn't shocked. The stock went down. And it was kind of a very strange presentation. Merchants didn't understand what the new things are. Customers or clients didn't understand what the value is. So basically, a recorded video where the message wasn't clear, and that's why the stock plummeted. Google and Microsoft and the FTC, now the FTC is looking into their AI deals. The FTC right now is trying to look for anything to grab on. It's not, I wouldn't put too much emphasis on it, but maybe I'm mistaken. FAA halts Boeing 737 MAX. Again, Boeing in their worst time in years with all the problems that they currently have with their fleet. Intel stocks sinks. We talked about that because they took down their forecast. Tesla stocks sink because the results weren't good, and also the call was very, very bad. And when I say bad, the reason why it was bad is because, well, analysts didn't get what they wanted. If you're trying to understand how Tesla will perform in 2024, and I'm saying that as a Tesla shareholder, by the way, this is a good opportunity to mention what was in the intro as well. The disclaimer that everything and anything that you see here is not financial advice. It's only for entertainment and education purposes only. But let's go back to Tesla. As a shareholder, I have no idea how many cars they're going to sell in 2024. I have no idea what their targets are. They haven't mentioned it. They said that it's probably going to go down. How much? I don't know about their margins. I don't know what's going on with the Cybertruck, how many Cybertrucks they're going to produce. Yes, they mentioned the next generation vehicle. How does it look? They said they're going to probably start delivering it next year. How does it look? We know it's going to probably be priced around $30,000. Is it? Isn't it? They talked about FSD 12, which should be an amazing version, according to the videos that we see currently on YouTube on very small sample size. When everyone's going to get it? Is it that good? So there are a lot of open questions. I'm not even talking about Optimus and other things. There are a lot of open questions after a very, very bad, another very, very bad, I need to say, earnings call. And that's why the stock kept going down, not for other reasons. By the way, maybe the situation isn't that bad, but we just don't know. And if we don't know, we need to assume the worst rather than the best. We talked about that. And at the end of everything, during the weekend, Friday, Elon Musk answers a tweet from What's Up Franks that asks, is there a plan for Tesla to buy chips from AMD? And Elon Musk replies by saying yes. This is everything that happened last week. Are you ready for it? This is everything that's going to happen in the week ahead. Tuesday, Wednesday, FOMC. Fed members are going to sit down and decide probably not to raise rates. But the question is, what are they going to say? What are they seeing as future rate drops maybe? Or rate decreases? When? What is the way they're going to do it? What do they see in the market? That's a big question. We're going to hear that Wednesday around 2:30 p.m. After 2 p.m., the decision is going to be released. 2:30, press conference. But during the week, we're going to have a lot more action. Here it is. Monday morning, SoFi, Franklin Templeton. Monday after the close, Super Micro Computers. Why are they interesting? Well, they raised their guidance of revenue guidance by 30% 3 weeks ago. The stock went ballistic. Tuesday, we're going to hear from Pfizer, GM, UPS, all this before the open. We're going to hear from JetBlue about their merger with Spirit. What's going on there? And then after the close, Microsoft, AMD, Alphabet, Starbucks. Major companies. Huge market caps. Then comes Wednesday. Boeing. Everyone wants to hear what their plan is. Novo Nordisk. What's going on with Ozempic? Is the demand still so crazy? And then at the close, a bit more relaxed. Qualcomm, Align, Wolfspeed. And then the big Thursday. The biggest Thursday in a lot of time. We're going to hear from Altria, Royal Caribbean, Peloton, Merck, SiriusXM, and others. That's before the open. But then, 4 p.m. Eastern, Amazon, Meta, Atlassian, United States Steel, Clorox, Skechers, and others are going to report. 4:30, we're going to hear from Apple. We have 5 out of the 7 Magnificent 7 that are reporting this week, Tuesday and Thursday. This brings us to Friday. Exxon, Chevron, Bristol Myers, all of them are reporting during Friday, and others as well. This is going to be a crazy week. And this week comes in when the S&P hits the top part of the channel. You can see we got here 2 lows that we created parallel lines. And you can see that we're currently hitting resistance time after time. Tom Lee from Fundstrat believes we might see 5,000 or 500 in the SPY. But then we might see a correction around the 400 or 4,000, depending if you're looking on the SPX or on the SPY. That means a pretty big correction. If we go all the way to 5,000, go down, that's about 12% on the S&P. A lot of bad news should happen for that. A lot of bad news should be priced in for that to happen. Do the technicals show that we might be too stretched? For sure. You want to see how I know? Very easy. Look at the fear and greed. We're at extreme greed by the CNN fear and greed metric. You want to see it in a different way? Let's look at the trend analyzer. Look at the sectors. The Dow overbought. S&P overbought. NASDAQ overbought. All the major averages overbought. Which means that we are in a very exciting and interesting point in time. A lot of big companies, huge market caps are reporting. Markets are stretched. In order for the rally to proceed, we need very good news. Will we get them? I don't know. What I do know is next week, same place, same time, I'm going to be here to summarize the weekly summary. If you enjoyed this weekly summary, smash that like button, and I'll see you next week, same place, same time. Till next time, bye-bye.